What's up? This is Jonathan Shuttlesworth, and I want to invite you to something I'm very excited about, the Evangelism Summit, July 8th through the 12th. We have Dr. Rodney Howard-Browne joining us. We have Tim Hall, who's a great miracle evangelist from Australia, my uncle Ted Shuttlesworth, and then someone I'm less excited about, Ankit Rambabu from India. Will also be joining us begrudgingly from India, who's been doing mass crusades since he was 14 years old. So I promise you, if you feel called into evangelism, and I know God is raising up a massive army of end-time evangelists. That's why we're doing this. You're gonna get a ton of wisdom from a bunch of people. Like if you could go out to dinner with 4 great evangelists and ask them anything you want, that's what you're gonna get. That's every day, July 8th through the 12th at 11 a.m. And then at 7 p.m. at night, I'm gonna teach on how to preach, how to conduct crusades, and show video examples of how to do it the best. I promise you, this will be the most helpful week of your life. It's free to watch. It'll be on YouTube, and it'll be on Facebook, Periscope, all our broadcast media. Don't miss it. July 8th through the 12th, 11 a.m., start half an hour earlier so we have more time, and 7 p.m. nightly. I can't wait to be with you. Help me get the word out. I will see you soon from our broadcast studio in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Until then, me love you. One more thing that I forgot to say. We're also going to open up 15 seats in the studio for anybody that wants to come live. So if you're not a lunatic, your eyes like look in the same direction and stuff, you're welcome to join us, and then you can ask questions in person. That's it. I'm going back to my home now under the table. See you July 8th through the 12th. Welcome to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I, of course, am speaking to myself because I just got to Pittsburgh about 3 hours ago. And I had something that God laid on my heart that's a pretty interesting subject that I'm going to spend some time with you on, that's kind of off the beaten path and something you won't hear talked about very much. But I was thinking about doing it while I was away this week with my family, but then I just figured I'll wait till I can do it properly with you. Good to see you, Cherie, Alicia, Emily, Dione Udiski. If that's not a Polish name, I don't know what is. My family's, I'd be interested, if you are Polish, assuming you're Polish, I'd be interested to see if you live in Chicago or Pittsburgh, or if you ventured out. Maybe you're in Warsaw itself. LaJoy, Antonia, Joel, if you want to share the broadcast, go ahead. And I'll get to the topic in a little bit, but while we're waiting for people to get on, rather than just play the same intro videos. By the way, remember that, July 8th through the 12th, we have our Evangelism Summit, and we're opening up 15 seats in the studio for anybody that wants to come in and ask questions live. And we have 4 great guests. You heard it announced at the beginning, and I'll look forward to seeing you. June 30th, this coming Sunday, you can see me in Lexington, Kentucky, 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 5 p.m., I believe are the times. And, oh, hey, Louisville, there's somebody right there, Ryan. I hope to see you in person. That's at Pastor Bob Rogers Church, Evangel World Prayer Center, I'm guessing. I think I got 3 of the 4 names right, if not all of them. So if you're anywhere around Kentucky, I'm there for one day only. I know I've officially retired from 9 a.m. and 8 a.m. services, but anybody that I've already booked with is grandfathered in. Plus, I might make a few reappearances, depending on the church. So let's get to a couple videos before we get into the late night chat topic. This is from the Democratic debate to just show you how insane one party in the United States has become. Go ahead and roll video number 1.
Secretary Castro, this one is for you. All of you on stage support a woman's right to an abortion. You all support some version of a government health care option. Would your plan cover abortion, Mr. Secretary?
Yes, it would. I don't believe only in reproductive freedom. I believe in reproductive justice. And you know, what that means is that just because a woman, or let's also not forget, someone in the trans community, a trans female, is poor, doesn't mean they shouldn't have exercise that right to choose. And so I absolutely would cover the right to have an abortion. More than that, everybody in this crowd and watching at home knows that in our country today, a person's right to choose is under assault in places like Missouri, in Alabama, in Georgia. I would appoint judges to the federal bench that understand the precedent of Roe v. Wade and will respect it. And in addition to that, make sure that we fight hard as we transition our healthcare system to one where everybody can.
So in case you missed it, we're proposing from the Democrat Party the right for a trans female to have an abortion funded by the taxpayer. A proposal that will affect absolutely no people, because a trans female is a man who has undergone the procedure to become a woman, but they still can't reproduce. So it's good to know. Why don't we cover space aliens while we're at it? One party has lost their mind, so that's the proof. This video coming up is a great point. I came across this lady, and I thought what she has to say is worth hearing. Go ahead, video number 2.
So I just got done watching some of the Democratic debate that happened. You know what I realized? Not one time did they mention an issue that was going on or happening in the black community. And you want to know why? Because they already have our vote. And when you already have a certain group's vote, you're not going to care about talking about what's going on in their community, because you don't have to work for it. You don't have to work to even get their vote because you already have it. And it's really sad because around 85% in the black community vote Democrat. I think it's time that we start voting in people who will work for our vote. No one deserves our vote at all. And obviously, no one even cared to mention one thing that will benefit or help the black community yesterday in the debate. Now you all see that, they don't care about us. They care more about, now they're trying to pander to the Hispanic community. And you see the evidence of that yesterday when they were talking in Spanish and doing all of that. You see where their heads are now, because, they're not concerned about the black community anymore. They're concerned more about the Hispanic community and pandering to them. So I'm not saying, vote Republican or anything like that. I'm just saying make sure you vote in someone who deserves your vote, because at the end of the day, it's about the people. It's not about these corrupt politicians who would do anything and everything to get a certain amount of people's votes.
That lady's right on the money. The Democrat Party thought that they had the black vote locked up. And then last presidential election in 2016, it's not that the black vote came out for Trump, because it didn't, but black people didn't vote for Hillary. So they just don't care about you anymore. And now they're going to move on. Actually, she was saying she didn't hear anything about black Americans. You didn't hear anything about Americans. You just heard what we need to do to help people that aren't in the country. And then they say it's a right-wing talking point to say that they're for open borders. They don't say they're for open borders, but they're for not turning anybody away, allowing everybody to stay. It's open borders. So I thought that lady put it together excellently. And then the final video we'll do is a celebration of the end of Gay Pride Month, which I'm telling you that 2019, the year we're in right now, will go down as the year that people had enough of Gay Pride Month, because they just did. You don't have to be too old, I'm not even 40 yet, that you see things swing. And so you had the move to gay rights, and then it goes too far, and then people start having enough of it. I don't mean Christians. I mean there's gay people that have had enough of Gay Pride Month and the parades and all that. So just as a celebration of the end of this month, I want you to see people in the Gay Pride Parade, which from all I can tell is from downtown Pittsburgh, where I'm from, the city that you see behind me where our offices are, when they're being asked about if they want to impeach Trump, how they don't understand when they get excited about impeaching Trump, that the person that then comes to power is Mike Pence, who was for gay conversion therapy, so from a LGBT standpoint is worse than Trump, and it's a pretty entertaining video. While they're showing it, hey, Prakash and Tina, I saw a message you sent me back in April, and I wasn't checking my Facebook messages, so I'm sorry I never got back to you, but I'm glad you're joining me in India. Hey, Irish suntan. Yes, that's me. And I got it in New Jersey on the shore where your vacation home is, Stephanie. Good to see you. Thanks for all the help at Festival of Life. If you've not shared the broadcast yet, please share. Let's see if we can get to 200. I'm pretty happy with how many viewers we have on a spontaneous broadcast, and I'm not going to keep you all night. I'm shooting to be done by 11. Enjoy this very entertaining video as we celebrate the end of Gay Pride Month. Go ahead and roll video 3.
Should we impeach Trump? Yes. Impeach Trump! Impeach Trump! Mike Pence for president! Mike Pence! Mike Pence for president! Yeah, Mike Pence. You guys want Mike Pence? What the heck was that? Look at that. Should we impeach Trump?
Oh, why not? There's
Yay!
a million reasons to impeach him.
Yeah, impeach him. Woo, Mike Pence for president. Mike Pence, yeah.
No, we don't want Pence. We got to get somebody else in.
But that's what happens.
I know we're going to get stuck with that.
Yeah,
So I don't know what's worse.
so should we impeach him then?
Well, I mean, if we can get somebody else in there, but don't know. Pence is going to be worse than Trump.
Yeah. So maybe, I don't know, like should we impeach him then? I guess if we're just going to get Mike Pence.
Well, let him ride out his term and let's see what happens.
Yeah. Maybe just vote, right?
Yeah, who knows?
Should we impeach Trump?
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Woo! Yeah, impeach Trump! Woo! Yeah, Mike Pence for president! Mike Pence!
Mike Pence?
Yeah, that's what happens. If we impeach Trump, we get Mike Pence.
That's
That's
arguably worse.
Yeah.
Because
That's
Trump's
why I was like,
stupid and Pence knows what he's doing.
So do you think maybe we shouldn't impeach Trump then? Because we do get Mike Pence if we impeach him.
Is there any other way? Or
It's called voting next election.
yeah, voting next month,
Yeah, voting next election.
but yeah.
That's like the only way. Otherwise we just get Mike Pence.
Yeah, that's
him, I didn't vote for him.
F who?
I said him, I didn't vote for him.
So do you guys still think we should impeach Trump?
I think that he needs a
I think
babysitter
we
for
should
the
just-
next year and a half.
Just let the term run out.
yeah. I don't know how everything.
Obviously, there's brilliant people in the gay community. The guy that's the head of Apple is a part of the LGBT community, but those are not them. And that's pretty much like the young people of America summed up, is they have no idea how the government works. They're fighting to get Trump out of office for a guy that they like less than Trump. This will count as your nightly devotion, so stay with me. This is Mark chapter 6, verse 30. The Bible says, the apostles returned to Jesus from their ministry tour and told him all they had done and taught. Verse 31, this is Mark 6:31. Then Jesus said, let's go off by ourselves to a quiet place and rest. Let's go off to a quiet place by ourselves and rest. He said this because there were so many people coming and going that Jesus and his apostles didn't even have time to eat. So they left by boat for a quiet place where they could be alone. So I wanted to deal with, and you saw in the title, I said, you'll want your husband to see this. Because I find a lot of times men don't value this for their families. And I was one of those men that I thought vacations and taking a break was for pansies. And you should just go all out for Jesus, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But while I took this week to be with Adalis and Camila, I wanted to take some time and just tell you the value of a vacation, how to get the most out of your summer vacation. If you're watching from South Africa, you're in the dead of winter or anywhere below the equator. But up here it's summertime and school's out, and it's a pretty interesting time. And I want to tell you some things that I think will really help you. And if you have like a workaholic husband, I think will help him. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks everybody that's watching. Thanks everybody that shared and got us up over 200 late at night. How to get the most out of your summer vacation. Thoughts about taking a break. Number one, you see Jesus, and this doesn't count as number one, just I wanted to show you in the scripture that the Bible says people were coming and going so fast that they didn't even have a chance to eat. That's why I scheduled in this week with Adalis and Camila, I was supposed to be back home. What kind of jacket is this? I might as well get this out of the way. This is an Italian, I believe. I know it's a European soccer company called Kappa. It's a man and woman sitting back to back. I used to wear it when I was in Bible college and got called into meetings because they thought it was like two naked women, because you can see the silhouette of a boob on one of the figures because it's a woman, but it's a man and woman sitting back to back, which means equality in sports. So just figure I'll get that out of the way, even though it'll probably come up a few more times. It's not anything dirty. To the pure, all things are pure. It's a soccer company. Anyway, just get that out of the way. Jesus scheduled time apart. So you take this last month, right after Dallas had her surgery and we had everything happen. I had to go right out to Saskatchewan to preach. And then I was home for about 5 days and went up to Alaska. I was supposed to be there 1 week, which, I tell Adalis and Camila, don't worry, I'll be home in 6 days. And then the meeting blows up, which is good. So I stay another week, which then goes right into Fitchburg. And then even when they met up with me in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, there was, it's like it said there, Jesus was with his disciples, but people were coming and going so fast they didn't even have time to eat. So you can be with people, but not be with them. And so that week was not quality time with my family. So you schedule like I did this week, like Jesus did, where he said, all right, we've ministered. People are always going to need help. Whatever your vision is, and a lot of people don't get this. I've heard Dr. Rodney Howard-Brown say, if you can't take a break from your ministry without it collapsing, then you need to let it collapse. If God's not holding the thing up, if I can't take 6 days away with my family without this whole thing caving in on itself, then it needs to cave in on itself and start over again. So it's almost like a demonic trap to think like, no, I can't take a break. Everybody needs me, because everybody needed Jesus. And he was only going to be in the ministry 3.5 years. And even hey, people can wait. Everybody's going to have a problem. But another thing Dr. Rodney said, I'm not going to be much good to anyone being in a mental institution in a straitjacket going, ministry, So you can run yourself into the ground and then you're no good to anybody. Jesus took time to rest. So I wanted to give just a few thoughts before it hits 11 o'clock on scheduling a break. Probably something when I was 27, I would have vehemently disagreed with myself. This was a rare thing to guys in the ministry. And I know a lot of people watch me that are in the ministry, but this is for everybody. And if you're a husband, I really want you to listen to what I'm saying, because it'll help your family. Generations before, especially in the ministry, you never took a vacation. I think we took ours, our first one when I was like 14 or 15, and it was a big deal. And even then, my dad was preaching in Orlando the one Sunday and then preaching again in Orlando the next Sunday, or somewhere else in Florida. So in between, we took time and spent money to go to Disney World. And looking back on it, if my dad was here, I think he would tell you that it kind of snuck up on you, I was thinking about it with Camila. She's 6. You remember her being 3, and you're always looking back. But if you look ahead, I have 12 summers left with Camila before she's out. And once they go to college, it's not the same anymore. They might not come back home any summers, and they might get married right out of college, and that's done. So you think about that going forward, that you got, your kids are out of the house before you know it. So you have a little bit of time with them. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it was a rare thing for people to schedule in family time, because the money needed to go to other things. And I want to show you why, if you're somebody that is wired like I am, and wired maybe like your dad was in a generation past, where it's like, no, there's more important things to do. I'm not tired. I wasn't tired. But Jesus, it was not a sign of weakness for him to go to say, let's come apart a while and rest. It was showing what I'm going to show you here, and I won't get ahead of myself. Number one, you can write down. These are 10 thoughts I'm going to give you. It used to be a rare thing, and it used to be something that people didn't consider necessary. But I want to show you why it's as necessary as anything that you spend money on, to take a break with your family. Number 2, what's the value of it? Number 2, it's an investment in yourself. When you go all the time, you know how to function. I could go 10 years without a vacation, no problem. But I think when you take one, you come back, if you take it properly, the best version of yourself, and that it's an investment in yourself. So you're not throwing money away, because that's how a lot of people look at it. It's like, well, I could take this money, I could buy a house, I could buy a car, down payment on a house, down payment on a car, save up for those things. Even if you're not spending enough money to be a down payment on a car, you think, man, $2,000, I could use that for a lot better things. But like I told somebody one time, that was not going on any vacation so they could buy a house. What good is it going to be to have a house and no wife to be in it with you because she left? There was a guy that was one of my father's contemporaries in evangelism. He used to pride himself on keeping a schedule 50 weeks a year out preaching. He was out 50 Sundays a year. I think he only would stay home the week of Christmas and Thanksgiving, and he'd bring it up. You know, that can actually become a thing of pride. You know, I preach 50 weeks a year. Yeah, whoop-de-doo, you know. I've done over 9,000 meetings in my ministry. That's great. Congratulations. It's not just about the quantity, it's about the quality. And one time that guy came home after being gone like 8 consecutive weeks, 14 consecutive weeks. Wouldn't bring his wife with him to save money, I'm sure, whatever he said the reason was. And he came home and all the furniture was gone. His kids were gone. If he had kids, the house was empty, just an empty house. You know, so that's what it cost him. Number 2, it's an investment in yourself. Number 3, and I got ahead of myself, it's an investment in your wife. You're not throwing money away to take a break. You're investing it. I promise you, when I come to go preach on Sunday, I feel great now because I know how to do it. So I'm not only going to tell you the value of a vacation, I'm going to tell you how to get the most out of one, in my opinion. It's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your wife. And I want to speak to the husbands that are on, and any of the ladies that are watching can share this, because it'll help guys understand what a lot of them, and especially guys in the ministry, don't understand. There's a lot of guys that started traveling with their wife in the ministry, and their wife won't travel with them anymore. And it's not because she lost her heart for God. It's because they made the road so rough on their wife that she didn't want to go with them anymore. You know, you have a meeting 12 hours away. You drive there. You won't make any stops unless somebody's bladder's about to explode. You sleep in your car to save money, you know, at a rest area for 2 hours. People will put up with that for a little bit, but they're not going to put up with it for a lifetime. And so you have to understand that a wife is to be cherished and loved. You know, I think it's in most of the wedding vows, the standard wedding vows, to cherish your wife. That you're not throwing money away to get a hotel. You have got, especially any ministers that I'm speaking to, you have to lose that mentality that, like, I'm going to make $2,500 is what I'm thinking is going to come in between my product table and the offering. And so if I spend $200 at a hotel, that's a loss. You know, I want to maximize the profit. Let me ask you a question. How much is a divorce going to cost you? Because I could tell you stories of ministers that got a divorce and lost immediately 65 to 70% of all their partners. So if you think like that with a business, then let's look at it as a business. You need to invest in your wife. Of all the things you spend money on, there's not much more quality of a thing that you can spend money on than your marriage. So it's like I said, you know, you can be with your wife all the time, but not really be with her. Whereas this last week that I took, where I took a break, we got a few of those zero gravity chairs from Bass Pro Shop, set them up on the beach with my wife laying next to me, and I put my phone down, and we talked, you know, and spent time with Camila in the water. So you're with them. It's not just about being in the room, because Jesus was with the disciples, but the Bible says they didn't even have time to eat because people were coming and going. It's important to schedule time that's quality time. And I don't know if I have this as a future point. If I do, then it'll be redundant. But I want you to write that in the comments, quality time. And if you're taking notes, I want you to write quality time. Like, let me give you an example of what quality time is not. Quality time is not going to see a movie together, because you're sitting there, but there's no engagement. You're just looking at a screen. I have like next to no interest in taking my wife to a movie or Camila to a movie. I go see movies by myself sometimes, and I haven't gone to the theater, because what's the difference? If you have somebody sitting in the dark, that if they're going to talk to you, you say, shh, you know, that's not quality time. So there's things you can be together, but have no interaction. Whereas quality time, standing in the ocean with my daughter is quality time. Digging a sand pit with my daughters, because you feel strong. You know, there's a bond when you do things together. So it's not just being together, because Jesus was with the disciples, but they were so busy. You know, we were together in Fitchburg the whole week, but it's taping TV in the morning, service at night. a little time in the afternoon. That's not, I might have talked to my wife maybe 20 to 40 minutes a day, tops, those days. So you can fool yourself into thinking just because you're in proximity. And then I'll even say this, like when I go home from this broadcast, I'm gonna go play Call of Duty 4 Blackout with my friends. So like Adalis and I will be in the same house. Camila, like a lot of you know. What are they saying? I was looking at the wrong camera? No, you're good. Okay, I got it now. Well, I'll be in the same house, but Camila will be doing something, Adalis will be doing something, and I'm doing something. You need to schedule time where you interact, because I'm going to tell you, and again, if I'm getting ahead of myself, then so be it. You know, when your daughter loves you, when your child loves you, you can look disappointed and it like breaks their heart. They value you. But then if you start letting them drift where there's just no relationship, the way my parents raised me, I would feel bad about things I did that they didn't even know about. I would come home from school and tattle on myself. Mom, I said something I shouldn't have said. I'm not talking when I was like 8. I'm talking when I was like 17. Because you have a relationship that you value, and I still have it today. I talked to my dad on the phone today for 2 hours. You know, that stuff is forged when you're young. And my dad, if you added up my dad's schedule, he was gone 9 of the first 11 years of my life on the road. If you added, he wasn't gone 9 years and home 2 years. It was if you added the schedule. But notice how strong a bond we have, because when he came home, we did stuff together. So there could be a dad that's home every night, eats dinner, watches TV, tells you to be quiet if you talk, and then falls asleep, and there's no interaction. It's not about how much time you're in proximity with each other. It's about how much time, quality time that you spend together. Number 3, see it as an investment in your wife. Number 4, I already covered this. See the money that you spend on a vacation as an investment in your children. I'm never going to be able to rewind time and have summer with Camila when she's 6 years old again. So I got this one planned out like Jesus is coming September 1st. You know what I mean? See it as an investment in your child. Then you'll lose that old school mentality like you're wasting money by taking a trip. Number 5, now I'm going to start to get into practical stuff about how to get the most out of a vacation. Look at a map, find undiscovered places, and don't go where everyone goes. That's all under number 5. I would love for you to talk about the difference between parenting a kid and parenting a young adult. At 10, I can see my daughter needing us in a different way. It's a tough transition mentally. That's a great question. I haven't done it yet. I'll have my mother back on to answer that question because she's done both. Number 5, look at a map, find undiscovered places, and don't go where everyone goes. I'm not going to tell you where I went on vacation because that way it can stay a vacation spot, but it's a place I've never heard of anyone going on vacation. I just found it on a map. I found this little island that's off the coast of a certain state, and it's like this little place that's really nice. You're not allowed to, there's no alcohol served in that town. It's like all families. There's an ice cream shop. It's very small. When you go to the ice cream shop, there's just lines of families. It feels clean, you know. I can rest there. I can't rest at a place where my spirit's troubled. So a lot of times when you live in a place, there's a place that everyone goes on vacation. In Pittsburgh, it's Hilton Head. Like, you would think there was 2 spots on a map in Pittsburgh. Hilton Head, North Carolina, or is it South Carolina? I don't know. Hilton Head, wherever it is, and Pittsburgh. So then, you know, it's like if you can't afford to go there, then you can't go on vacation. So you'd be amazed how many people live in Pittsburgh and have never been to Niagara Falls. And Hilton Head's like 7 hours, and Niagara Falls like 3 hours and 40 minutes, one of the 7 wonders of the world. Toronto, where the Hockey Hall of Fame is and great restaurants, is only 4 hours from Pittsburgh. I know tons of people that have never been there. So wherever you live, there's like a place everybody goes on vacation. Look at a map and find cool places. Then you can Google image the city. You know, if you say, wow, this place is right on the water, or if you like a place in the mountains. How many of you, by show of emoji hands, saw when me and my nephew Jay took that trip to Banff, Alberta. That was 7.5 hours one way and 7.5 hours back. We did it in one day. I left after the one night service and got back an hour before the next night service began. Drove through the night and drove all the next day to be there like 2 hours because I saw that golf course on Tiger Woods Golf like in 2012, 2014. And it looked so beautiful on the video game. I thought it was a fantasy course. And then when I looked, I saw it was a real place. I always wanted to see it, and I went. You know, there's more places to go than Disney World or New York City or the certain beach everybody goes to. Find a place. If you can't afford, if you've got like 4 kids and it's not in your budget to fly 6 people to Orlando because you live in like Montana, look at places. There are beautiful places that like nobody knows about. Janice said glamping. You know, like do what you like that. I mean, you could, and that's a great example because like if you, I can't afford a vacation. Yes, you can. Just change it up. Find a way to make it fit. You don't have to stay at the 4 seasons. You don't have to stay at the 1 seasons. You can bring like if your family likes to camp, if your family likes to hunt together, like they do in Alaska, a lot of families. Jackson Hole, Wyoming is a great place I've never been, but you look at the pictures of it, it's beautiful. So look at a map, find undiscovered places, and don't go where everybody goes. You shouldn't die and go to heaven and you've been to like 3 places. Your house, this one vacation spot, and then a place that you got lost and ended up at it or whatever. You look, there's like cool places everywhere that you don't have to fly to if you can't afford it. Look at a map. You know, see, America has cool places, whatever country you live in, without leaving the country, there is like awesome places. Thank you, Antonia. I'm glad this is helping people. Yeah, like Tanya said, nothing like the ocean. A lot of people feel that way. But then you go to where the mountains are, like where Jay and I were at in Banff. Jay's my nephew, by the way, in case you're tuning in, because it sounds like I have a domestic life partner saying like Jay and I took a trip to the mountains. You know, it's like with that Lake Moraine, that's like some amazing color, greenish blue, like probably not the most romantic way to describe it, but it's like the color of porta potty water, but like in a good way. And then you have the Rockies in the distance. That's amazing, you know. There's amazing places to see. So check out a map. Number 6, don't overspend. And I know people consider me a prosperity preacher, so you might be shocked to hear me say don't overspend, but I'm telling you, don't overspend. Because if you go to Disney World, you will see families yelling at each other, and you can just tell everything is freaking tense, you know. Daddy, I want a water. You just had a water. These waters cost $9. I'm not, you know, you went someplace you can't afford to go. Go where you can have, hey Mario, welcome, first time viewer, glad you're here. Go somewhere where it's not denting your butt, you know, if you go over budget, it's not a big deal. For example, let's say you have $4,000 of disposable income. Let's say less. Let's say you got your income tax refund back and it was $2,300. Don't go on and that's all the money extra you have. Don't go on a vacation that costs $2,300. You got dinners, you got gas. Factor all that in and do something that costs like $1,400. And then if you go over by $900, it's no big deal. You know what I mean? Rather than like do exactly what you can afford, and then anything that comes up that you didn't factor in causes tension. Lack of money is a stressor, what they call a stressor. It brings stress. So you can ruin your vacation and actually make it one of the worst weeks of your life by doing something you don't actually have the money to do, and you know, get in fights with your wife, and then it actually defeats the purpose of why you did it in the first place. Because you actually come back from the week and all hate each other. So go where you have plenty of money to go. Cut corners on stuff, you know. And I know you're probably shocked to hear me say that. But I would rather drive my family 2 hours from where I live And I don't know. I'm not saying like stay at a Motel 6 or 8. I'm not talking about having like a garbage. I'd rather just wait a year. But I'm saying like camp out or whatever, then spend where you're overspent and then credit cards are maxed out and you have 2 days of vacation left and half a day's worth of money. That's no vacation. You could think of this with me. You could drive 2 hours from your house, get tents or whatever you want to do, get those zero gravity reclining chairs and bug spray, and go drop those chairs at a state park with a view of a lake and a mountain, and just lay back with a cooler full of whatever you like to drink, Red Bull, sparkling water, Mountain Dew, whatever. And that's not, you're not spending money, but you would have a great time. And yeah, don't overspend. Let's get into what Leela put hotels.com. Let me just tell you a story. I was preaching at a place in upstate New York, and this other evangelist, some of you have heard me tell this story, I think it's in my book here. This other evangelist came to meet me and the pastor when we went out for dinner. And he asked me, like with a chip on his shoulder, what hotel are you staying at? I said, I told him which one. Oh, I wish I could stay at nice hotels, but I don't like to get like that, but I don't get to preach at the big churches like you do. First of all, I wasn't even preaching at a big church. So I said, where are you staying? The Motel 6. How much did you get it for a night? $69.99. I said, well, the one I'm staying at is $64.99. So I'm actually staying at a much better place for $5 less a night because I don't drive to town and look for the cheapest place and pay the rack rate. I went on hotwire.com or priceline.com or whatever. So if you'll do a little research, like people are helping you out with on there, you can go on priceline.com, look for specials. Adonis and I used to sign up for this thing, Travel Zoo, where they give you the top 20 deals in travel every Wednesday. At least they did back then. I haven't been a part of it for a while. And it was free. And they would just tell you places that are running rates. If you go on off-peak times, like the week school starts back up, your kid's going to have to play from behind. Everybody's going to have a 5-day head start. But like no one's on vacation. I'll give you an example. Adonis and I are going to go take a vacation, a long one, at the end of the summer, right before Camila starts school. The room that we're staying at is like $140 a night. If you go in April, it's like $780 a night. So you just pick a different time. So, you could look at that room one time, $800, who could afford to stay there? And then you go another time and it costs as much as like a 2.5 or 3-star hotel. And then Stephanie said something about date night. I would rather take like a 2-day, of course I'm getting ahead of myself, so anyway, research it, Don't just say you can't stay there. Adonis and I took a vacation, I think it was a year ago. We had so many points racked up on our American Express card from traveling like 280 nights a year. I was able to take a 7-night vacation at any resort in the world I wanted to, basically for free, plus airfare. Plus, I think I got a Cadillac rental car, 3 first-class tickets for me, her, and Camila, and a resort for 7 nights, 5-star resort, and I think we had to pay $327. So if you're smart with credit cards, there's people that do that, that you could just follow, and they tell you how to use points, what credit cards to sign up for. If you're smart, and again, a lot has to do with just not saying, I can't do this. We can't afford a vacation. No, you don't know how to use your brain. Because I had about a $9,000 vacation for $300. And you can do that. Jason R. said, going fishing is cheap and fun. He's right. Do what you guys like to do. My dad would love that kind of vacation. Me, I'm not, as you probably may have guessed from looking at me, I'm not an outdoorsman. I'm an indoorsman. But every family's different. There's families that would love a group hunting trip or group fishing trip, and there's families that would be miserable. There's a lot that it's kind of stupid to put on everybody. It's like when people say everybody should homeschool. No, they shouldn't. Everybody should do the things that are written in the Bible. And then past that, every family's got their own flow. So you figure out what works for your family. Number 6, don't overspend. Number 7, and this kind of factors in with it, and I got into this a little bit already. Number 7, think of less time on vacation with better quality. Rather than drag out a 7-day vacation because you think you have to go for a week, think how much better a vacation you could have for 3 nights. So if you're short on money, don't have a tense week, have a great 3 days. And then God will increase you. Just take, be where you're at. But I'm telling you, if you do 3 days right, it can be a great 3 days. I'm going to switch 8 and 9 in my notes, which I guess I could have just thought because you don't know what 8 or 9 are. Number 8, relax, don't run. Write that down. On your vacation, relax, don't run. If you want to take a trip to New York, knock yourself out. New York City, I'm talking about. Well, that's not the kind of vacation I'm talking about. It's not a vacation to never be able to rest. That you have to have like your spidey senses up, making sure nobody's coming to abduct your child. I remember we went to New York City for the first time. My mother, basically so warned us about the dangers of New York City. Of course, this was before Rudy Giuliani, so she wasn't wrong. My sister and I basically had come to grips with the fact that we would be abducted before the thing was over. I mean, we had to hold her hand. I was 15. And it's not relaxing. So it's cool to see New York City, but I am a massive advocate of taking a restful vacation. Where we were was a small beach town. We went to a part of the beach where there was almost no one there. Plus, it's an off-peak week. Notice how I scheduled it, where I came home today, which is going into 4th of July weekend. The traffic going to where we just left was insane. If there's a pineapple juice, I'll take it in the back. It wouldn't have been restful if I went this week. The place is going to be jammed. I went the week school was getting out. It was empty. Set up chairs on the beach and chilled. I promise you, even if you're somebody that likes to run, it is not fun. What's the point of taking a week off if you come back from the week off and are more tired than when you started on your vacation? Go somewhere and don't do anything except look at the ocean or look at the mountain. Then go out to dinner at night or a low-key, nice restaurant where it's just not busy. Don't plan one of those vacations where it's I'm going to take Camila to Disney World in July because I'm preaching in Orlando. But Disney World is not a vacation. Not the kind I'm talking about. Disney World, Camila's going to have a great time, and I'm not. That's why I scheduled 2 different ones for me and Adalis. That one's just a labor of love for my daughter because it's not a vacation. Thanks a lot. You going on a death march from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. in 97-degree heat with 300% humidity is not a vacation. You're gonna come back from that week exhausted. So I'm not saying don't go to Disney World. I'm not saying don't go to New York City. But I'm telling you, you'll get more out of it if you relax. Number 9, vacation time is not a time to raise your child or correct your spouse. Take a week off from coaching and just enjoy each other. I was at Disney World a couple years ago with Camila. There was a mother talking to her 2 teenage children. And you know what? You always do that. I don't know why you do that. Can you explain to me why you do that? You need to stop. I thought to myself, do you really think the ride, the Anna and Elsa line for the line for the Anna and Elsa ride is the best time to make life changes to your children? Just make a point when you go for that week that I'm not going to bring up any like issues of contention that I have with Camila or Adalis. We went this whole week, there was not one fight, there was not anything close to a fight. Because I purposed in my heart, I'm not having one. You know, Camila wanted a sprinkled donut and didn't eat her breakfast. And I got ready to say, no, you can't have it. No, you know what? Have ice cream. It's one freaking week. If that ice cream kills you, let it kill you on the vacation. You know, it's not a time, you're not like setting a standard that she can have ice cream for breakfast. But on vacation, you can have ice cream for breakfast. It's 6 days or 7 days or whatever. Knock yourself out. Have fun, and then we'll go back to fruits and vegetables and all that stuff when you come back. Don't raise your child on vacation. Obviously, don't let them tear through a store. But you know, basically just figure you got what you got at this point. If they're bad, they're bad. This isn't the time to like make them good. You screwed up obviously for the last however many years. And so you're not going to correct it in 5 days, but that's what happens. It's like people haven't paid attention to what they have at this point. And then you're around each other so much you start realizing it. It's not the time to correct. Don't correct your wife. Don't correct your husband. I say don't correct your child. You know, I hope you understand what I mean. Obviously, if they're like giving the middle finger to police officers and stuff, you're going to have to step in. But it's not time to like, you know, I've always noticed you don't keep your promises. Have you ever noticed? It's not time. Because it's going to make for a crap day that day, an awkward day possibly the next. Then you say you're sorry for each other. It's still going to be weird. And you've ruined like 2 of the 5 days, 2 of the 3 days, 3 of the 7 days. Don't fight. It's not worth it. Just make up. You'd be amazed what all you can do and what all you can avoid if you just make up your mind ahead of time. I'm not fighting. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to let anybody get me upset. Don't let the devil come in and ruin your vacation. Strife comes from the devil. You know, he's the one that sows discord. So don't let him disguise strife and hostility under the guise of like, you know, I'm starting to notice some traits in you that I don't like. Talk about it next week. In the meantime, order a virgin pina colada and swim. Just relax. It's not 5 days together to sort each other out. It's 5 days to enjoy each other. Relax, don't run. Not a time to raise your child. And then number 10, I guess I'll throw in a number 11 too, and then we'll be done before 11 o'clock. So it's 11 before 11. I already dealt with quality time and conversation, but I'll put a bow on it with this, with number 10. That what makes for a great vacation is not where you go. It's the amount of quality time. Thanks, Derek. Quality time and conversation that you have. Good conversation. And I'm going to tell you when I figured this out, and hopefully it'll save you the money that it didn't save me. You're welcome, Michelle. I took Camila to Disney World for the first time, I think, when she was 3. All week. I was miserable. I didn't let her on, but, you know, she loved it. Then the last day, our flight left at like 9 p.m. out of Tampa. So to kill time, because you have to check out at 11, to kill time, I went to a park in Tampa that's on the ocean, like a public park with swings and a sliding board. I ordered a pizza, went and picked up the pizza. We ate it in the public park. I pushed her on the swing. She went down the slide. I walked her back up. She went down the slide again. So as we're eating the pizza towards the end of the day when we're getting ready to go to the airport, we're still at the park. She goes, I said, Camila, of all the days, because we did a different park every day, and then that public park. So I'm talking like we did Magic Kingdom, Epcot, all that. Of all the parks, which park did you like the best? Talking about the Disney parks. She went, I like this park the best. Oh, the free park? Not the one that we had to pay $300 a day to go to? You like this park the best? Yeah. What did you like about it? I liked when you pushed me on the swings and took me to the slide, and I liked eating the pizza. You know what I realized that day? That I'm going to save you a lot of money. That's the day I realized it's not where they go that your kids and your wife want. It's time with you. Because all that time we were sitting in line and I was on my phone, you know, and stuff, because I was letting the rides entertain her. But love is irreplaceable, you know? Love between you and your family. And that's what you're spending money on. Is you're spending time to invest love in your spouse and love in your child. It's not an event. The place where you go gives you the place to do that. But if you're not doing that, it's a waste of time. Your kids actually don't want to go to Disney World. They want you. Your kids don't want to go to the beach. They want you. And if they go to the beach, they want time with you at the beach and Disney time with you at Disney. And so that can save you a lot of money, because it would have saved me about $5,000 to realize that I could have just taken Camila to any park in Pittsburgh, ordered a pizza, but pushed her on the swing and talked and had fun and laughed and whatever else. That's what matters. Your family wants time with you. And the Bible says life is but a vapor, here today and gone tomorrow. Camila, as little as she is, with her 2 missing front teeth and 2 missing bottom teeth, she's 6, little kid. I got 12 summers left after this one, maybe 11. And that's it. And it'll never come back. You know, and then, yeah, you can still go somewhere in summer, but then there's a husband involved. Who knows whether I'll like him or not, you know? Then it's different. But as far as her being my kid, this is it. So you can forge memories where I believe, and I don't have any studies to back me up or anything, but I know from my experience with my mom and my dad, you can forge things together where I believe it's literally the difference between your child caring whether you approve of their boyfriend, whether you approve of different choices they're making, or whether they have no care. Yeah, what do you know, where they don't care about you. Love is a strong bond. I knew my parents loved me. I loved them. I cared what they thought. If I liked a girl in my church youth group, and when I told my mom that this was the girl I liked, and I saw her go like this, all she had to do is scrunch her eyebrows. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Forget her. Because I loved my mom and I trusted her and I knew she had my best interest. If my mom was just on the run, having wine with her friends, you know, at some brunch spot, leaving me to fend for myself, then I probably wouldn't give a crap what my mom thought about what girl I liked. I might like one to spite her. So see you're spending that. Don't let this summer go by without investing in whoever you're with. Because, you know, what am I, 38? Good, I'll turn 39 in September. So you think I might have 40 to 50 quality summers, and the first 40 went like this. So I got life goes quick. Make it count. I mean, all we did, and it wasn't to save money. I have the most money in the bank right now I've ever had in my life, by far. And we did the most free stuff we've ever done, because there was a beach where we went. I won't say the name of it, but it's one of the best places to watch the sunset on the East Coast. We took those folding chairs, the zero gravity chairs, sat there an hour before the sun went down, and just watched the sunset together. That's free, you know? 6 hours from my house, 1 day drive. And then went and got ice cream. What did that cost? $14? Doesn't have anything to do with, in fact, I'll give you a story since it's still a little before, yeah, you're great, Mom. No question. I'll give you the flip side. I was in Hawaii staying at one of the nicest, it's one of the top 100 hotels in the world. And there was a dad there with his wife and 2 teenage kids. And both teenage kids were on the phone, and his wife was on the phone. His kids were texting somebody, and his wife was talking to someone, and he was eating his breakfast, looking at a beautiful breakfast room overlooking the sunrise, And, you know, I'm a man of God. I operate in the gifts sometimes. And I knew exactly what the guy was thinking. He said he had this dissatisfied look staring out the window thinking, I busted my tail working 90 hours a week so that I could provide this week with my family. And there's no family. You know, whether he ever gets divorced or not, you could tell it was already headed in that direction. His kids didn't care to be with him. So you can sacrifice, you know, under the guise of working hard to provide for your family. You can do it at the expense of losing your family. And on the flip side, you can take 5 days, 3 days, 4 days, and pour your love into your family. And it will make a huge difference. And I want to challenge you to do that before the summer's over. Let me tell you one final thing. I think this will be 11. People think that God only has enough money to do one thing, or that God only cares about quote unquote important things and not about like things like this. You know, so it's like, well, we have to be smart with our money. That's why a lot of the people that are real into stewardship and like setting aside a certain amount of money, and then once that money's gone, then you just tell everyone, sorry, we can't do anything fun this month because we're paying off our house and getting out of debt. Don't get in debt. I'm not saying get in debt, but I am saying, what fun is it to live like that so you can be out of debt when you're, you know, if you live like no one's living now, then you can live like no one else can live when you're 60. I don't want to wait till I'm 60. And God doesn't make you wait till you're 60. God is El Shaddai, Genesis 17:1. Behold, I am El Shaddai, the God of more than enough, the all-sufficient God. Do you know what all-sufficient means? It means God has enough for everything. God has vacation. You can have faith for a vacation, just like you can have faith for a house. You don't have to pick one. I didn't have to pick whether to believe God for 1,000 kids to eat every morning or go on vacation with my family. God actually provided enough for all the things. You can, and you should. Not only can you, and I'm taking time to tell you this is number 11 because people don't teach this kind of stuff. The same way you can, don't tell me you can believe God to pack a stadium and have an altar full of people and all that, and you can't believe God to invest in your own child. What good is it to run around the world winning other people's kids to Christ while your own goes to hell? You can have faith for both things, and God doesn't mind you having faith for both things. Abraham didn't just bless people outside of his tent. Abraham blessed his son Isaac. Isaac blessed Jacob. You can actually believe God for little things like that, and God will surprise you. You'd be amazed how much God cares about you and your family. I'm not just somebody God values because I'm an evangelist and, well, we need to keep Jonathan fed so that he can win souls for me. No, God actually cares if you fathers being evil know how to give good gifts to your children. How much more does your heavenly Father give good gifts to those that love him? God cares about you. Delight yourself in the Lord, not and he'll meet your needs. Delight yourself in the Lord and he'll give you the desires of your heart. You don't have to pick what to exercise. You're supposed to live by faith. That doesn't mean live paycheck to paycheck, live barely getting by. It means everything you do. You can believe God. Don't tell me. You know, there's old school preachers like that. They could believe God for a blind kid to see and couldn't believe God to take their wife on a 5-day vacation. The same faith you exercise to have miracles, you can exercise faith for the blessing of God to come into your family. You certainly can. You can use your faith for anything. I've done it with my wife. I've done it with my father. My dad turned 60 last year. I wanted to get him a nice gift for him turning 60. And I believed God for money to come in and gave away one of the most valuable things I owned to get him a really nice gift. And money, as soon as I said, Lord, Everything that comes in the next 30 days, I'm going to spend on my father. I'm believing for an increase personally so that I can bless my dad. It came in like that. Faith works. God's not just concerned about, like quote unquote eternal things or kingdom things. He cares about you. He really cares about you. I want you to know that. It'll affect the way you see God. That just like I want to do nice things, that's how God feels about you. God actually has a desire to bless you. That's what I'll leave you with, I guess. God loves you. God loves your family. You're not a means to an end. He doesn't need you running a treadmill to make as much money as possible to fund world missions while your own family falls apart. God will give you everything to do both. And Jesus, in the midst of a whirlwind 3.5-year life and ministry, said to his disciples, let's come apart a while and be together. Because I'm not using you so I can reach the crowd. I actually care about you too. And husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. How did Christ love the church? That's how he loved them. Come apart and rest. Take time for your family. And you won't be sorry that you did. Your children will rise up and call you blessed in your old age. It's investments that you make now. And if you came from a household where that wasn't how things worked, you can change it in your family. I'll give you an opportunity to sow seed if you'd like. Everybody that gives $100 or more, I'm going to send you my book, Financial Overflow. You can do #donate on Facebook. 1,000 kids, just because it's the weekend, we don't take a break. 1,000 kids are going to eat in the morning in the poorest parts of the world. And you can either watch it happen or you can be a part of it happening. And the Bible says, what you make happen for others, God makes happen for you. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 8 and 9. So I'll give you the opportunity. #donate on Facebook. If you're watching on another medium or podcast in the future, you can go to revivaltoday.com and click Give Now. You can also give by Cash App. It's RT, as in Revival Today, RT Give. RT Give. Give you a chance to give. Thank you for giving your best. I'm going to be on in less than 23 hours. And tomorrow I'm going to do, I don't want to call it a political show, but I want to deal with what's going on with the children being kept in cages at the border and talk to you about that so you can get it from a Bible perspective. How should a Christian feel about what's happening at the border? So if you caught me now, make sure you catch me at 10 Eastern in the morning. Hope this helped everybody. Thank you for those of you who gave. God bless you, Deborah, Kathy, Tanya, Jody, Mike, God bless you. Paul, Rogers, it was great seeing you. Jason, healthy, happy horse riding family. I like the name. Tricia, love you. Well, she has another scripture for it. Song of Solomon 7:11. Come, my beloved, let us go forth to the field. Let us lodge in the villages. Good vacation scripture. So when you sow tonight, why don't you do that? Why don't you believe God with this seed? And this will sound, somebody could isolate this clip and make it seem like I only care about temporal things, but people can do whatever they want. I don't really care. Why not exercise your faith that when you sow, whatever you're going to sow, that God will give you a harvest personally? Interesting that when Elijah talked to the widow, he never talked about his ministry. He just talked to her about what God would do for her. So why don't you do that? Believe that God will give a harvest back where you can do something to bless your family. What you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. As you take care of kids tomorrow and they eat, watch what God does for you. Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, everybody who gave. You'd be amazed what God will do. God will upgrade you. When you start making things happen for other people, God starts helping you. God won't let you down. He's a good God. He really will give you the desires of your heart. Thank you, Brittany. Glad it helped. All right, I think that pretty much covers it. Glad to be back. I will see you in the morning. If you're in Kentucky, I will see you Sunday, 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and I think 5 p.m. Carlos, God bless you. Good to see you, Angela, and your husband, Mike, I saw on YouTube. Love you. All right, I will see you tomorrow, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Do you have the montage? Yeah, so have a little humor and laughter before you go to bed. See you in the morning. God bless you.
If you're visiting with us, it's a great evangelist, Jonathan Shuttlesworth. Amen.
See North Dakota News, and he'll be joining the weekend news team as my co-anchor. Tell us a little bit about yourself, AJ.
Thanks, Van. I'm very excited. I graduated from West Virginia University, and I'm used to, from being from the East Coast.
Your hand is because you already believe. You're saying, I believe. You know, and we've just given you an opportunity to confess him before men. He sees you, a little guy in the back. Little guy, I'm not a midget, he's a child. I mean, I don't want anyone to think I was offending a midget.
What's up? This is Jonathan Shuttlesworth, and I want to invite you to something I'm very excited about, the Evangelism Summit, July 8th through the 12th. We have Dr. Rodney Howard-Brown joining us. We have Tim Hall, who's a great miracle evangelist from Australia, my uncle Ted Shuttlesworth, and then someone I'm less excited about, Ankit Rambabu from India. Will also be joining us begrudgingly from India, who's been doing mass crusades since he was 14 years old. So I promise you, if you feel called into evangelism, and I know God is raising up a massive army of end-time evangelists. That's why we're doing this. You're gonna get a ton of wisdom from a bunch of people. Like if you could go out to dinner with 4 great evangelists and ask them anything you want, that's what you're gonna get. That's every day, July 8th through the 12th at 11 a.m. And then at 7 p.m. at night, I'm gonna teach on how to preach, how to conduct crusades, and show video examples of how to do it the best. I promise you, this will be the most helpful week of your life. It's free to watch. It'll be on YouTube, and it'll be on Facebook, Periscope, all our broadcast media. Don't miss it. July 8th through the 12th, 11 a.m., start half an hour earlier so we have more time, and 7 p.m. nightly. I can't wait to be with you. Help me get the word out. I will see you soon from our broadcast studio in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Until then, me love you. One more thing that I forgot to say. We're also going to open up 15 seats in the studio for anybody that wants to come live. So if you're not a lunatic, your eyes like look in the same direction and stuff, you're welcome to join us, and then you can ask questions in person. That's it. I'm going back to my home now under the table. See you July 8th through the 12th.